And the Sharks unable to swim their way out of this one, and we're a long way from San Jose. It does look like Dust 2's going in the way of the ENCE Squadron. In fact, some might even say it was easy for ENCE, but maybe we'll leave that up to you two to do a little bit of the talking here. We got Duncan Thorne Shields. We do have Sean. Don't call me Sean Gares. Now, guys, let's talk a little about this game and what exactly brought it to this conclusion.
Well, ENCE looked like they were going to give the game away to Vega at some point, but I think it was like the 25th or 26th round. That's when Sergey won that 1-on-2 in the A bomb site. That was probably the biggest round of the entire match. Throughout the early parts of that second half, I think ENCE did mid-B splits or B hits for the first 5 or so crucial rounds. Pistol round, like the first 4 gun rounds. And then at that point, they decided, okay, let's go towards A hits. And Vega actually read the first A hit. They stacked 4 people towards the A site, still got run over by the drop spawn split with the spawn drop smoke. Second time, there was like a little bit of a force buy. That's when JR got caught on catwalk, actually, where we saw him get blind and traded out. So that was the solution to the match, hitting the A-bomb site. And yeah, ENCE just showed they were way deeper, actually.
Yeah, the problem that the Vega Squadron has had generally in the final so far is they've had a couple of maps where the firepower hasn't shown up from the players you wanted to see. I mean, over the whole series, Hot G is having a terrible time. And this was a guy on CT side who was looking pretty good in some of the other maps earlier in the tournament. Obviously not a big name overall. Then you look when you were... This whole game, as Sean said, eventually got to the point where it was actually looking, there was a chance for Vega to win it. The whole game basically rested on 2 clutches. There was the one that they won in the B site, that opened it up again, and you looked like there's a real chance, and then, yeah, Sergey winning that 1v2 where he lined it up on the dead body, that basically sealed the game for them, because I actually feel like if you lose that map in the end, ENCE, and you had 3 maps that you could have won. You could have 3-0'd already. Yeah. The psychological weight at that point in time would be ridiculous, especially knowing you'd be going to the overpass 5th map at best.
Yeah, it's kind of wild that Vega finds themselves in all these maps. This is another map where they lost both pistols. But despite that, they ecoed them on the second round. We're up 4-1, and it actually killed their momentum so badly to lose the eco at 4-1. I thought that was another key swing round in this game, was the eco that ENCE won at 4-1, where they get a kill at mid, they push the upper B halls, get 2 more. Immediately it's in like a 2-on-5, and I mean, obviously from there.
You notice it's always the same story as well. So they're really in the game. Then you get to look at the scoreboard, and you're like, how can they be so far behind in frags? It's like they just win the rounds. They get kills on the rounds they're winning. Other than that, ENCE is getting a fairly clean game aside from that. Like, I actually feel like if you're ENCE, it must be very frustrating that you're seeing the scores always there. They're always running it back. Every time you have a lead, it never really holds.
Well, the numbers do not lie, Duncan. That is something that I think you can attest to. Perhaps we could go by the numbers here and talk a little bit about exactly how that paid off on Dust 2. Yes, you're exactly right when it came down to Hutchie not exactly having a star performance here. And in fact, if we look a little bit past this Dust 2, he's 32 and 63 with under 50 ADR for the entire series thus far.
Yikes. And yet they could literally have won all 3 maps.
Yeah, and this was actually another map on the other side where Alu went 5-0 again on opening kills. So 5-0 on opening kills on every single map so far. That's a bunker stat to have out of your opera.
Well, we can start talking a little bit about this game in a way which we paint a storyline with the rounds won and rounds lost. Because perhaps ENCE, obviously coming into the second half, winning the first 5, then get 5 in response there. It could have been that landslide. It could have been more over a neck-and-neck more fight there. But what really started to turn their way, Sean?
Well, obviously, like when they finally decided to go towards the A site, that was the turning point in the match for ENCE, in my opinion, when they started to hit the A site in that second half. They were not successful at all hitting the B site. I mean, towards the early parts of the first half, they were. That's when they got the opening picks on Crush a lot of the times. But then at that point, Crush turtled in towards the site a little bit more, and they were more successful. So when they switched it up, hit B or hit A, they had a lot more success.
Let's talk about the second half, too, when we see a lot of these fast flanks come out of the likes of Vega. They were really able to kind of get in there and catch them off guard a few times, whereas they would even up the rounds a little bit more, something you noted in the green room, Duncan.
Yeah, there was the one round, actually, the one I was referring to, that ended in that 1v2 that was able to be won. I think it was Tony Black was the one who came through in the end, who actually, again, will reiterate, is having a wonderful tournament. I mean, sometimes he's top fragging, you can see the raw stats. Other times, the amount of times I've seen him in clutches winning, seems like he's reinvented his game. He's got a new confidence. In that particular round, that was where they had a guy on ENCE who was holding mid, and they had the 2 people in B. It was a 3v3, so you're thinking in that scenario, like, this is perfect, because we either, like, backstab them if they come across the mid, we've got the people inside the site, we can always push around the back. But what they could not have known is Vega gambled and rotated someone all the way through the T-spawn, and it was one of those scenarios where you could just see it coming. I mean, funnily enough, with the whole shark element, you could just see the fin coming up, the little kid swimming, it's paddling, hey daddy, I love you, I'm going to grow up and be a big boy. Then, yeah, just comes in behind, wrecks them completely, blood everywhere. But anyway, back in the game, they died.
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
And they died. No.
A better
They
picture.
got strangled out by an octopus.
Yes, that's, or is it a squid? We still don't know.
A shark would wreck an octopus, let's be real.
Let's really get that going in
Unless
here.
it's a giant one.
In fact, if you're in Twitch chat right now, I entice you to tell us who you think would win in a shark versus a squid or octopus fight.
Sharktopus.
A shark. Yeah, man. Tell us who you think would win. Use some hashtags or don't. In fact, I just want to see you spam some noodles and all that other good stuff that you're spamming there. Let's start talking about the next map. We're going to Mirage, guys, and this could be the end of the road here for Vega Squadron.
In the case that this is a win for Vega Squadron, we go to 5 maps, I'm going to be in hell. But I tell you what's not hell, hell case. Now, if you go there, you can open cases. They've got stuff in there. Eventually, a guy presses a button in a production studio. A lower third comes up saying hell case. That's how it's done. Follow my words. I am your god. Now, when you're doing this, use the code SLTV for extra money on your account, or even in your account, because if it's on it, well, that's not going to help me at all. I need it inside the account so I can transfer it out of the account, press the button again, fix that lower third. That's all. Over to you, Bill, in the studio.
Yes, speaking of Bill, how about a little Billy action as we look at to go a little further?
What does that even mean?
I'm talking about the Dave Chappelle clip. Right? Anyway,
Right,
look.
yes,
Okay, so going forward to
Bit of a
Mirage,
reference there.
it all could end. It all could really end here. Do we think that ENCE now has that composure to take them further and perhaps seal the deal here?
I think it does help them, obviously, that they're in the driver's seat. They've shown they kind of cracked a little bit under the pressure, so being in a 2-1 lead, ball's definitely in their court. But this is Vega's home map, in my opinion. They've always shown they can play Mirage better than the other maps, but the reason why they probably strayed from picking it in this series is because they thought Inferno would be a little bit weaker for ENCE. Turned out it wasn't. I think this is a good point for Vega to get back in this series. We saw they were very strong yesterday against Energy. Probably should have won that game after 11-4 first half.
Yeah, that was actually, funnily enough, at the time it was their 1 map loss. I think they had one other one to Optic, but it was one of the only maps they'd lost. They looked really good in that game. They had moments where they absolutely were in position to win. They were coming back. I feel as though, yeah, this is one where I'm going to really see from Vega Squadron how they're going to end this tournament. Because if they fight back and they play really great, generally they've done it even in the series where they've lost some maps here, then we can legit go to 5 maps. And at that point in time, you've overcome the whole mental hurdle. On the other hand, if you're ENCE, you can definitely play this map. This is where you can close it out. If Vega shows any weakness, you just finish them at this point in time. They haven't done very well fragging across all the maps generally. I think this is one where it's really up in the air. It's a 50-50 map for me.
No, I agree. I think it's an absolute coin flip of a map. It ultimately is going to depend. Vega played very aggressive towards A ramp and B apps yesterday. And if the kills go their way on CT side in those 2 places, I think they're going to snowball with this map, probably have an insane CT half just like they did yesterday against Energy.
Well, that is the storyline we're going to run with here. I think Duncan hit a high note when he said that this could be, in fact, where ENCE finish off the Sharks. And I don't mean in any other way, you sick, perverted people out there. Now, we're going to be going into the game. We've got 1 Australian and 1 Norwegian who's a little bit culturally confused, but that's okay. We can bear with it, and so can he. We're going to be jumping into this next map, Mirage, and we'll see you there.
G'day, mate.
Are you the culturally confused one?
I think we both might be.
Yeah.
I mean, I started out this with a British accent, so...
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, I've heard
And
you
I'm
say
half
cash
British.
as well, so...
Oh, did I really?
No, well, not today.
Oh,
but
bloody
we
hell.
have caught you on camera saying it.
I'm going to go as far as saying that if Vega Squadron win this map,
They're
they
winning
will
the
win
series.
the series.
I'm kind of on board with that. I like the sound of it. Yesterday, what we saw from them versus Energy on Overpass was just very, very convincing. It wasn't a fluky win where they were just running down people, just by happenstance happened to be at the right place at the right time. They were actually setting each other up for to have successful plays.
Yeah.
And obviously that instills some confidence in you. But I mean, as much as we talked about Mirage potentially being the best map Vega Squadron could get on versus ENCE in this series, I don't feel like it's a given that they're going to end up in a spot where they get to a 5th map. I mean, we have to consider the kind of scalp sense of taken down here just at this tournament. Mouse Sports, Optic, not too shabby teams to down on Mirage.
Yeah, I think as well, though, if you look at the way that they were able to win on their CT side yesterday,
Yeah.
it was when they were being more assertive. They had to be aggressive over towards middle. It was their T side where they did all the heavy lifting. They got 10 rounds, right?
Yeah.
So if the CT side is an absolute blowout for ENCE, then we have to start worrying. We need them to, you know, if you're an ENCE fan, if you want ENCE to win, you need them to be putting up a pretty decent CT showing, because that's where their flaws have definitely come into fruition. And then on the other side of things, we're going to see more of that Vega post-plant CT harassment, which has been true on every single map we've had so far. So keep your eyes out for that. This one is going to get wild. We're going underway with the knife round right now. This is the pick of Vega.
Yeah, and I mean, as a bit of a polar opposite of what we saw at events, ENCE were having such a fantastic time on the T side versus Optic. Vega were having a really, really rough time on their T side versus Energy. They won their CT side 11-4. They had pretty much everything set for themselves. I think they even won the first buy round, but just wasn't enough really to get them across the line.
I guess if we just take a stock right now while the knife round is going on, head over to everybody's favorite stat website, htv.org, and check out the stats so far for these 3 maps that we've had played so far.
Pretty sure it's Sergey, Alu, and Ariel doing pretty hot for themselves on the side of ENCE.
Precisely. And then on the side of things for Vega Squadron, it's Chopper, Crush, and then Tony Black. JR has been missing a little bit, and he has been a constant throughout this tournament for Vega Squadron, so he's going to have to return to that form. Hutchie is having a rough time. He's sitting down the very bottom there, and he only has a 0.58 rating. Now, if you wanted to use those stats to help you make some bets, remember, gamble responsibly, but Loot.bet, sponsor of StarSeries I-League Season 6.
Yeah, and it's with the promo code SLTV. You can get a little bit extra for your investment as well, if you try that out.
The huddle again, Halvor.
Yeah, the huddle again.
Arms around.
This time they've actually opted for arms, though. Yeah.
This is the real analysis.
I mean, with Vegas, that's about as far as you can go, right? So we've figured out that no arms leads to no victory. So I guess, yeah, that's where they're bringing their arms back.
I'm just curious as well. On the T side, I suppose we can look out for certain bits and pieces. We have Chopper, who likes to go, and he plays Palace. You know, he kind of plays on his own accord in that part of the map.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, again, Vega are going to attack this with the same approach as they did on pretty much every map so far. They're going to have both, well, I guess both of the sides of the map, B halls and A halls, being under, or like putting that under pressure for the T side, because at least from what we saw on their T side last time around, they didn't actually opt to go for that much mid control, not as much as your traditional Mirage team would do. So yeah, again, it's going to be a battle of finding picks, looking for that, and eventually setting up for a pretty basic A execute of that sort. Really, that's how they move forward.
I think something to note with the way that ENCE like to approach their CT side, leaving Sergey relatively passive towards Ticket and more emphasis towards mid with that trifecta of Alu, Alexi, B, and Ariel, all playing around obviously short, window, and connector respectively, that you can execute onto that A bomb site. You will be able to get that bomb down, and then it's just about how you play that retake, because ENCE are more than happy to hold on to that utility. Also filtering in, if you didn't catch the Optic game yesterday, they only found... Well, they found most of their success when they were playing relatively aggressive towards middle, and when X7 picked up the AWP towards that B bomb site, he was also hitting more shots. It was Alexi in the early stages who was trying to apply it over towards Catwalk. He wasn't finding as many kills, and that definitely changed as the game went on.
Let's see how it all works out. Big Squadron for their CT side. Normally, a team that's pretty happy to actually take challenges over towards mid and constantly put pressure up there. They didn't do it too much in their game versus Energy, but I think that was more down to the fact that they'd found something that was working for them on the CT side, and they actually kind of stuck with it. It was one of the more structured, I guess, passively played paths out of Vega Squadron so far at this tournament. But it shows that, you know, if they find something that works, they're not necessarily going to run away from it immediately.
All right, well, here we go. Could be the last map of the best-of-5 grand final. ENCE one map away from taking this, from lifting the trophy and punishing Vega Squadron on home soil. There's going to be a quick start right now. Up A ramp, they trot as Ariel will be flashed off the line. Immediate contact as we're kicking off the same way we did Dust 2. The call will be coming in, and the rotation quickly towards window from Tony Black will be greeted with some bullets whiffing past his head from Alu now. 4 members quickly congregating over towards that CT spawn. They're happy to push, they're happy to take the jewels as JR's spotted out a few members from Palace here. And to flood on into this bomb site. They have a lot of T's to deal with. Smoke will drop on the bomb. And Alexi with that kit is going to get the defuse underway. They're not expecting him to sit it, and he's going to be able to grab this one with ease as the round will fall in favor of ENCE. A quick start, a quick defuse, and the pistol round in the pocket of the Finns.
I'm really surprised by how much space ENCE were given there, actually. I mean, you could see the player from Vega actually opted or sat up in apartments, never really swung out wide, even when they were engaging on people towards connector. And by the same token, X7, he was playing around from catwalk over by ladder. He never really moved. He never got into that retake at all until the very, very end. But at that point, Alexi had already defused the bomb. I just didn't expect Vega to give up or give that much room really for ENCE to move forward in. Doesn't really pan out because luckily for ENCE, they did still have a smoke on them. But again, this is something you've mentioned that's kind of their calling card. They are going to play for retakes. They're happy to do so. And Alexi has pretty much for every pistol round, as far as I can remember, had a defuse kit and a smoke to his name.
Yeah, all flashes. He's been opting between the two, depending on the map. And this time round, Vega are going to keep things very reserved. They haven't gone for the force by here. Tony's grabbed himself a P250 and JR with 2 flashbangs, waiting out early utility. This isn't the Vega style by any means. They like to keep it quick. They like to keep it fast. And this time round, changing up the pace. Looks like as they start to posture over towards that B bomb site, the 2 flashbangs of JR will come into play. And over towards catwalk is Alu with a HE ready. The jump spot of X7, maybe not so necessary with that nade and player is in tow, but regardless, they have a good setup to deal with this.
Yeah, Vega just hoping to get another bomb plant in. Obviously with that first round plan, we'll have the money to buy up in the 3rd round. This is just Vega hoping for the best, seeing if they can find a timing. You know, potentially catch X7 right after he's landed, but he's going to spot it out. It's going to land for a pretty solid nade inside of Alu, but his gun work isn't as exceptional.
So much space was given there, but now, before the bomb can go down, the frags have come in. Ariel and Alexi B get on the site. They deal with that issue. They're able to salvage the M4 that Alu lost. And now we will see the first gun round come in. That damage, still fantastic, because rebuys will have to come in. Utility will be a little bit weaker on that end side. So Vega Squadron, considering their investment, have to have smiles from ear to ear. We do see the 5 AKs come up.
And actually, well, Alu does get dropped a Colt on his end. And if it's going to be the same players, yeah, X7 and Alu over towards that B bomb site. The issue with that is that X7, because he had to buy it for himself, he doesn't have any utility at all. It's all going to fall down to the hands of Alu. So they need to play kind of tight in. Actually, Alu's going to go into mid.
This is a very quick mid take right now from Vega. Pedal to the metal as they take the duel towards connector, and Ariel licking above the top of the smoke, able to find JR. A punish will come in from Hutchie as he's going to kill one player over towards catwalk, and it looks like it wants to be a B split, but the bomb is left top of catwalk in all this flurry and fury. It's the B bomb side as Hutchie now, he steps it up. The last couple of maps not looking fantastic, but this round alone, he's been able to find massive impact. Now they need to hold true as the bomb reconnaissance mission is underway from Tony Black. He needs to be expecting anybody around there, and Crusher spotted one, has 2 in front of him. Will get traded out there, and a second kill by Ariel. The AK shuts down Hutchie, but they know where both players are, giving Tony Black the chance to get over towards his A bomb site. With the 56 seconds left on the clock, he is opting to go through Palace.
Right now, ENCE are in no man's land, so they don't really have any good indication as to where the bomb's going to get planted. They still believe it's B. Figure if it's taken this long, surely the bomb would have gone down at one point with how long they've had control over that bomb site. Now they realize, but Tony Black's been able to get into a solid after-plant position here.
These are the situations that the ENCE players play better than anybody else at this tournament. Shoulder to shoulder, side by side, ready to trade. Tony knows he needs to be aggressive. He's seeking out a pick. He's looking for a frag.
I think they've spotted his shoulder.
They know the jig is up right now. Their attention is over. That's a huge shot by Tony. Drops Sergey. Now finds himself in the one-on-one situation. Ariel has a little bit of utility. Wants to drop it, but the Molotov, the flames, he can stand behind. He can still deliver. The time is against him. And Tony Black with a huge 1-on-2 situation after 3 massive entries from Hutchie. Able to close it out. The confusion, the mid-round, the mayhem. This is where Vega thrive. There's blood in the water, and the Sharks are right back on track.
Very well done by Tony Black there to salvage that round. It also means that ENCE have to go back, well, not on an eco. They're actually going to have to force buy into this, but it's not a great buy. And, I mean, I'm not sure if I feel too comfortable about this if I'm ENCE. Giving up just one more round on their side would have been perfectly fine. You could still get a lot out of your CT side. This puts it a bit more in jeopardy. And it's going to be the mid take from Vega. Alexi boosted up on short here. It's going to circumvent that Molotov, and that might be the end of either Chopper or Alexi. Alexi is the one to go down as well.
Starts to shoot first, but he will fall as Hachi follows up. Almost able to take that X7, and the flash will follow, and that kill will come through. The B bomb site is open for business. Sergey's going to find the kill onto Chopper, but I think if you are ENCE right now, considering how quickly this bomb will go down, the save call has come in. They want to hold on to the weaponry they do still have. But they're not going to have an optimal buy for 2 to 3 rounds now.
Yeah, the question is, right, like, given the fact that they showed willingness, I guess, to opt in for a buy like this here on now, are they going to follow that up, purchasing around the 3 weapons that they're going to hold on to? It's going to be a similar buy in any case. Probably a little bit more utility, actually, to their name, in fact. And you don't want to see ENCE falter the trap and of just continuously force buying just because they're doing a good job of holding onto your weapons. Sometimes that's that can be a bit tricky.
This was Threat's approach when he came in early to start coaching that of NIP, that if they want to hold on to those weapons, you know, if they have a UMP or if they have a scout, maybe just one M4 in the mix, let them save, because they're going to continue to force buy behind that weaponry, and the rounds are going to be easier because more of the members are going to be on pistol rounds, low utility. They're lulled into that false sense of security. And right here, if you play Vega's game, that's exactly what they want you to do. And they're discussing right now if they want to go for the buy. As the freeze time ticks away, it doesn't look like any upgrades will come in from Alexi in X7. It's probably a dropped 5-7.
Might very well be, actually.
That AK from Chopper and has that left over. But this is a quick pace change over towards the A bomb site. Straight out of Palace, Chopper will come, and the flash will come in as Crush finds Aerial. Now Alexi B with the USP, the only man on the bomb site. He's going to get taken down any minute. Or Willie is running past. Chopper doesn't check the corner. That's a free kill right there. Got to clear your corners, Halvor.
Definitely a necessity. Chopper learns that the hard way. Oh, Loop set up in spawn. That smoke's not going to cover off the entire angle. But for now, just hoping to see if anyone from the side of Vega are going to push forward. No real reason for Vega to actually do so, outside of getting some information. And with that, disengagement is going to happen. And again, ENCE managed to hold on to a couple of weapons. Lost one UMP in the process, but I guess the most vital ones are going to be with them. Aller still has the fuse kit to his name as well. So there is a bit of money to hold on to going into what is going to be ENCE's next buy.
Go. It's plus 2,400 for those of you not so privy to the loss bonus situation. That's just enough money to scrape together a buy, but no AWP and definitely not enough utility for every member. It will not be a full buy. It'll be a weapon round, but not a full buy by any means.
Yeah, actually, X7 is going to take, well, it's probably going to go for the MP9 here. So holding on to just the 5-7. Actually, he's going to get dropped the FAMAS. That works as well. A fair amount of utility actually on their side. What I was expecting. Now they've set up a bit of a mid defense, but Vega's still been able to make their way out in here behind the boxes, top mid.
Even with the AWP up, Alu does tend to go towards window with that, so he can be dealt with very easily with the utility that Vega have used here. So this round would be panning out in the early stages in a very similar fashion.
Yeah, I think actually Alu might be in a situation where he's better equipped to deal with any sort of quick pushes coming from Vega after the initial mid-tick, because he has the rifle in his hands now. See though, new Molotov coming into window. Ariel's not going to move position. Alu's just going to be that initial bait here. Take first point of contact.
Surprisingly, Chopper not in Palace either, so this leads me to believe there may be a B split on the cards. They can still drop back towards that A bomb site, but right now, action will be on connector. Crush creeping on up, and Aerial has to hit this shot. Sees the barrel first, steps out, grabs one, immediately traded, and as we go back and forth, that's the trigger to hit onto the A bomb site. Sergey from the triple box will find one of his own. Chopper falls, and now the number and HP advantage well and truly in the favor of ENCE. Sergey continuing that domination and touching each other in the smoke as Alexi and Tony Black. The round will go back to the Finns as we have ourselves a 3-3 scoreline. Enough money on the board for Vega to get together a buy here. That's a slow round. Let's see if they change the pace.
Could very well be. Op's going to be out on Alu though, so we'll see if there's going to be any change up. I mean, if Vega go back to that mid control as we saw earlier, then yeah, Alu's going to pretty much be forced to same kind of position as he did in that previous round. It's not to be the case. So he's actually going to go aggressive up in apps here. It seems like no. Holds back. So place the sight with an op. And this time, it's not going to be Chopper in apps, but Crush is there.
It's amazing how ENCE don't tend to have that cat player over there to help and deal with that mid control. They seem to be happy, but X7 getting a little bit too gluttonous there. Pushes forward after the exchange that went down with Alexi and Hachi. He's going to fall, giving up a 4-on-4 relatively early.
Crush has also opted to go away from AAPS here. Looks like Vega just wants to gather up here, and this might be one of those standard A executes coming in eventually. Just still have JR held up in mid. He's going to work as a bit of a late lurk and potentially find some rotations coming in from ENCE, but there's only one really to be found at this stage.
Yeah, I would say ENCE are going to push in front of these smokes when this execute comes in ready to fight, just based off Sergey's position alone. First smoke will come in, but no action off that. This is looking a bit like dry flash take as they push on out, making their way to sandwich right now. Sergey not able to make the kill. Crush pivots on a dime and hits a big kill. Alu, he's zoomed on in towards the balcony position and trying to cross. They're getting tagged through the smoke. That could have been the kill right there, but Chopper, he saved the day, and that should be the round on the board for Vega Squadron. Not happy to continue to take that duel out of Palace. Now they're going to put the tail between the legs and dip on away.
And didn't start out in Palace, but made his way there eventually.
He loves that spot.
He does. It's kind of like Adren on the old Gambit lineups.
Hey, look at this chase right now. Their money's not great. They don't really have enough to give away many deaths, if all, here.
I think they're banking on the fact that they can lose one more member and still be able to get a pretty good buy-in. And obviously for ENCE, they don't have the kind of luxury. So it would mean more for them to lose a member. If they get the 1-for-1 trade, that's a win in Vega's book.
So just quickly, Alexi has 3,500. He can drop an M4. Sergey has enough to buy his own, and Alu could drop a Famous. So they can get another buy. Shouldn't be too difficult for them to scrap this one together at all. So we will be seeing another gun round as Vega take the lead 4-3. Just looking at the scoreboard. If we're starting from the top, we've got Ariel on 7 kills, 5 for Alexi, Sergey on 6, 2 for Alu, 1 for X7. Tony's leading the way. Oh, sorry, Hachi's leading the way with 6, 5 for Tony, 3 for Chopper, 2 for Crush, and 1 for JR. This is a pace change. Here we go. A bit of a pressure applied early over towards that B bomb site. JR is going to be more than happy to pick off a player jumping, and X7 can use his smoke to make sure that doesn't happen. Change of a setup here as Alu has repositioned with the AWP, wants to play over towards Catwalk, and Alexi in the window room. And a very, very close-up A ramp setup here. I wonder how long this one's going to stay for, because right now Vega are rotating back on over.
Forward positioning here from Ariel is going to have to come up big. He's going to get some extra help from Sergey as well. They need to find multiple kills here. Otherwise, the rotation is going to be so far away for ENCE that they have no chance of actually setting up for a retake. Well, big gamble. Setting completely out in the open as well. Just one flash could completely decimate this defense. Vega, though, waiting for Chopper to get a bit more forward positioning, and we go with the execute. Ooh, bad timing with the Molotov, but Sergey's there to help him out. To find the follow-up, but Ariel has been bought enough time to get his gun out. Favorable trades on the way of ENCE, and well, JR managed to get the first kill, but rotations have been made in time here for ENCE. No bomb plant down yet. 25 seconds to go.
The smoke's going to clear. They have to take these fights, but they know that they can just wait for this plant to come in. Hachi seeks out a kill, but Alexi too sharp, too fast, too quick from the stair position will mop up the last 2 kills of the round, and that was all on Sergey.
Yeah, what a massive job he does right there, because Ariel picks up a Molotov the second Vega sets up that execute. You can see the shadow dropping down from above, down in T-pit. And Ariel, the first point of contact, is just stuck with a nade in his hand. Luckily for them as well, Chopper just not having made his way quite far enough forward in apps to immediately punish that. So it's a 3-man swing really in favor of ENCE off of that aggressive setup, and that's exactly what they needed.
JR's done it again. Got the AWP in his hand after what feels like a situation shouldn't be going very well for the economy of Vega, but Ariel from Connector is going to find one. She will even things up. He's come alive in this map.
He definitely has. And he's been one of the better performing players on their side as well. So you need that on the side of Vega if they want to win out of the best of 5 series. Lexi, though, poking him with some more aggression. Well, it's not going to win up the duel versus Chopper. He kind of had a drop on him as well. There we go. Tony finds X7 trying to push aggressively in B-App. So this one from being around where ENCE, even with that trade on top mid, we're looking pretty decently. Huti was brought down to so low HP that he would have been having issues getting into any sort of fights.
Would have been definitely cannon fodder in that situation, but Chopper lands another big shot. That's 2 kills for him in this round, putting all the pressure on Alu. Last alive with the AWP, over towards window. Molotov's just going to land. Still able to go for a pick behind it. Unable to land the shot, but still alive. Will he go for this one? His money is not great, and that remains the same for the remainder of his teammates. He's trying to see what he can find, sniff out any kills, because at the moment, 40 seconds is a long time to hide in plain sight. Peering on out now, making his way down connector. He definitely wants to save this weapon. And Chopper there.
I love the fact that Hoochie's the one on low HP is the one.
Hunting, he got no worries in the world, and Chopper will find the kill. Channeling Chopper Reed there. I wonder if you watched the movie.
Could very well be. I mean, you were talking about how ENCE in their matchup versus Optic on Mirage, they found more success on their CT side when they were pushing aggressively towards mid and so on. Was it just the initial fights that were being aggressive or aggressed on from ENCE's side, or did they actually maintain that similar to what we saw in this round?
It was when they were winning the fights early, and then they were turtling up. Here, I don't know what got a hold of them. I don't know why X7 is pushing B-Apps while we have Alexi re-initiating in middle. That doesn't make too much sense. If you want to have one player doing it, that's okay, but pushing multiple positions on the map, especially the extremities where the bomb site anchors are meant to live, that becomes questionable. That's one for the demo review. That's one where Daddy Natu will be giving them a slap on the wrist, I think.
Hockey stick to the back. For now, though, Vega once again given mid control. ENCE doesn't really have the weaponry to, or the utility to fend off that.
But they do have 3 players over towards that B bomb site, and that does appear the port of call for Vega Squadron as they have postured up catwalk, have one member going through B-App, spotted a player on the side as Chopper, and he gets dinked down, and this is where the flurry of the crossfire and the very limited utility and pistols of ENCE is doing a lot of work right now. Alu with another kill, just taking down JR, the point man. The big green has fallen. Now Tony Black, we've seen him clutch before, but this one here, a 1-on-4 situation. To do it, he's now going to take damage from distance, and Alexi stepping out, taking the round. That's the return we needed. ENCE knew they made the blunder. They're going to strike back and give Vega a taste of their own medicine. Force buys aren't necessarily their forte.
That was a, that was a real testament to how solid mechanically these ENCE players can be, because they're not benefited from a pop flash here or there. This is just straight up aim, winning out duels. And I think for the better part of it, it's not Vega players necessarily whiffing too much. They're just not giving that much time to readjust to the positions that ENCE come out of. Chopper, quick into mid, but does lose a lot of HP for it.
Look at this. The HP doesn't slow him down at all. He's already in connect, already ready to take the fight as Aerial stands waiting. They're going to push through this smoke, creeping on through. He's seen the barrel, gets the kill, and the low HP will be punished, but a door has been opened. Tony Black is the man to bust on through, jumping into window. This opportunity right now, he might be able to kill Aerial in the back. He's wedged himself in the corner. I don't think he's expected a player to come through this position. He has not, as Tony Black 2 bullets to the side of the dome. Aerial will drop to the dirt, and now all the pressure is on Sergey and Alu over towards CT spawn, and once again, Sergey's aim will deliver. Oh no, the team kill from Alu there, but it doesn't matter. He's going to follow it up with 1.5 more kills. Tony Black is still in a decent clutch position over towards the window, and he's on the flank.
He's going to commit to it as well. Smokes go down though. That is a bit of an opening. There we go, position given up, and Alexi's on the bomb immediately. Here's this knife swinging in the dark.
Oh, this one is falling apart for ENCE right now. Tony Black with the play. It's made life extremely difficult. He has to clutch 1-on-2 again. He's already done this once in this map. Can he get it? The diffuser's coming in. Tony without the time. He's not going to get it. Lights out for Tony Black as he won't be able to convert the round, but will punish with the kills, and that has a flow-on effect. Even though the round does go for ENCE, pressure on the economy for ENCE kept real.
Very significant. X7 has to go down to UMP. Sergey and Ariel are not really looking in a position to buy up fully with the rifles that they want. JR somehow conjures up an AWP as well. As they want to talk through things. Yeah,
that would be the same. I assume it was picked up by Old
Oh,
Boy
right. That's
yeah,
that's true.
because he was able to live and go through.
That is true. He picked up.
Unless
Alu's
he's a
op.
miracle worker, really.
I wouldn't even be surprised at this point.
He's just got the console commands. He's just dropping himself
Give
an
weapon
AWP.
under
Someone
Shakur.
try no clip. Cheats might be on.
Yeah. No, in any case, probably the more likely outcome was that Tony Black was able to pick up that after he had down Alu. That really came down to the bitter end as the smoke is fading as well. Here we see Alu finding those 2 frags. Unexpected drop in from Tony Black to start everything off as well.
Split second in that one, wasn't
Yeah.
it? That one I said before was a bee's dick, or almost, and that one definitely was. As you don't get closer than that. Smaller margins in Counter-Strike have been seen, but this is a close back and forth affair. JR with the AWP will take a lot of damage over towards A ramp, and now the 2 AWPs have come alive, and there's Alexi B immediately reaping the rewards of picking that one up. Vega Squadron, we haven't seen them have a lot of full buys in this. They've been putting together whatever they can. Eagles, Galils, AKs. Not the optimal situation to be in, but they make it work, and they make it work again as JR and Hachi are able to open up. Use that little lurk one-way smoke that they've thrown out there to reposition. 4-on-3 situation as Alu's stuck behind the triple box in the bomb site. And look at this.
Crush.
He's in the B site. He's got full real estate. He's going to put up a for sale sign, and JR's coming to inspect the house.
But that actually might work out for ENCE here. Alexi B doing the re-rotate back in towards B.
He's getting a bit overzealous. He heard that set of footsteps, doesn't realize there's going to be more coming behind him. He needs to be very careful and very quiet. Crush will go down, and now JR stuck on 2 HP, pincered between a rock and a hard place. Alexi's not going to expect more players behind him, though. Thought more members may have been here at this point. And as I say that, he turns and he hits a massive shot onto Chopper.
Right now, so little HP, 11 combined on the 2 players of Vega to get a bomb plant down. But JR is definitely not in the spot where you want to be necessarily with that off in hand. Uchi's going to move closer to give him some assistance. Still a lot of utility on Alu here. Can be used on the side of ENCE.
Pressure's on right now. JR has to hit this shot if they want a chance in this round. He'll miss, has to reposition. The grip tightens, he will fall. Hachi now doing the best he can, but the diffuser's going to come in, and the AWPs picking up 4 of the 5 kills in that round.
It gets very close considering ENCE didn't have a diffuse kit on them at the very start of it. Alu has picked up 1 as he rotates off. But man alive.
Still in the bin though, the money situation.
Yeah.
It's not great.
Vega's doing such a great job of actually being able to get players down on ENCE's side, regardless of what kind of buys they have.
We've seen quite a few plants come in already. There's been 3 diffuse situations and 3 bomb detonations so far within
12 rounds.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. Keeping the chances for guns on the board. And once again, look at this. This is a Vega strat and a half.
Mac 10s galore.
Looks like they want to run out Palace here. There is a lot of head armor on the side of ENCE. This one's going to be quick. Here we come. The Molotovs flashes. They're ready to go. The heads-up Counter-Strike is on the board, and Sergey and Ariel combine for 2 big kills as this rush has been stopped before it even started. More utility being expended. So disjointed. But this playthrough underpass from Crush could be everything. If he can hit a kill or 2, never mind. Caster's curse.
But that is actually something that's been uncanny so far this game. ENCE, whenever we talked about, oh, a Vega Squadron player, potentially setting up a flank here, no way they should expect it. Somebody turns around.
Yeah. Seems like ENCE are ready for everything. Expect the unexpected.
JR, still is not able to win up the fight versus Alu. Gets the dink, but just no other connection made as he jumps past. Well, Chopper, you only have a Mac 10, but you kind of have to try to make the most out of this.
Yeah, there's a great Chopper Reed quote. It goes, I once met a man who was paranoid about dying, so I shot him. He just managed to take down Sergey at long range, who had head armor with a Mac 10. So maybe Sergey was a little bit paranoid right there, but the nade's going to land. Chopper will fall. 8 rounds on the board, and spirits still seem relatively high in the ENCE camp. Sorry, the Vega camp, not the ENCE camp. They should be smiling from ear to ear.
That's very true. I mean, if the energy game is anything to go by, it was the CT side where they can hang their hat on, and they were struggling mightily, actually, to get T side round versus Energy. They've already done pretty well for themselves in that sense. Go for a bit of an eco before we get into second to last round of the first half. Let's see, though, how that T side of ENCE matches up versus Vegas CT. Nearly a full deco, actually. Not often you see too many of those anymore.
Yeah, it's not a term we get to throw around so much in CSGO with so many pistols being viable.
It's going to be Aerial to open things up as well. Bombs being dropped back by Vega Squadron over towards the BAPS entrance. And meanwhile, everyone on ENCE is joining the fun.
Oh, he's going to get almost walked in on here in Connector. I thought Chopper would have pushed through that smoke considering his playstyle, but opting for a different approach. Want to boost up, see if anybody's heads off it up towards Catwalk, and they're about to find Alexi, who is probably regretting that decision.
Well, still a chance for Aerial to find two. Still knows that Chopper's alive around that area. Also means that there's no reason for X7 to actually rotate off that B-bomb set. And right now, it seems to be the only avenue of choice for Vega here. JR's going to have to make his way up Catwalk. Alu actually just looks away at the wrong time. Ooh, still doesn't spot him. Sound Q definitely going to give it away, though. He's actually jumped into CPL. Yeah, Sergey definitely spotted that out from JR. So, last man. Position known and easily dealt with. Aerial with a 3K to the round to get ENCE to 9. So at least matching their score versus Optic. That's definitely not a bad sign. Let's see if they're going to be able to close it out and get to double figures too. Double op is the name of the game on the side of Vega. Not something you see very often on the T side.
Definitely an interesting approach.
Yeah, might see if it's actually off of some spawns or not. Chopper has a mid spawn, and he's still not going to use it actually. He's going to set up for smokes. A little bit curious as to what that might entail. He's going to move over towards his beloved palace. Just going to hang out there for a while and see if somebody actually runs into his crosshair once he sets up and the smokes are gone.
Archiova hyper aggressive towards B, trying to bait out as much utility as he possibly can. Make sure they can use that as a pressure point later in the round. If the call does land that way, you can see how much has been expended right now. X7 used all of his nades besides a flashbang. Not really the most fantastic thing to use when stopping a rush. And ooh, okay, well that was from Palace. Was able to take down Aerial pivoting towards the stairs. Chopper able to change between whatever weaponry he does need to get the dirty work done.
For now, though, still no massive rotation coming in from ENCE. Alexi is going to venture a little bit further out onto Catwalk. Not before JR finds Alu. So this A defense has been severely weakened. And I think Alexi is actually going to have to be the point man. Obviously, Sergey needs to get some work done as well. But if Alexi can find the right timing as they move up through Connector, could be it. But JR seemingly finding his place in this half. The very late stages of it. That's a third kill to his name already, and he's going to find a fourth too. So he was the one player really on the side of Vega that wasn't really being able to put his impact or put his mark on the first half here on Mirage, but that's going to do a lot for your confidence. 9-6 scoreline. I think both teams can be okay with that. I mean, ENCE, again, you said it, they had more success on their T side in their matchup versus Optic. Vega on their end, they were having so many struggles with their T side just in general. So for them to get 3 rounds, that's not a bad tally.
Par for the course, but we will be back after the ad break.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna let it away. Tonight, we're gonna let it away. Tonight, we're gonna let it away. Just like
are back with what could be the last half of the StarSeries I-League Season 6 Grand Final. One map away, ENCE from taking the trophy, from taking the prize money, and taking victory over Vega Squadron here, the hometown heroes in this event.
Yeah, but it's by no means done at this stage. Vega, they're looking to do their heavy lifting on the CT side. They've been able to do it before, looking to do it again. And if that were to happen, we would be going into Overpass. That's the final deciding map. And considering what Vega were able to do to Energy yesterday, you know, we think we were both leaning in the way of Vega potentially being favorites at that stage. That would have been quite the feat if they were able to actually win a best of 5. When pretty much all we've talked about leading, as we've gone through the tournament, is the fact that Vega have a very limited map pool. And to win out a best of 5 series, that's not something you do on a limited map pool. So they would have proven us all wrong. Yet to be seen, though, what's going to come out of it. ENCE with a very quick move here over towards the A bomb site. Smokes and flashes rain out. Chopper gets quite the beating to start things off, but it is the 3-man setup here. JR's going to find the first frag as well. Chopper.
Oh, Crush, no.
Oh,
That's
no.
a Reddit clip waiting to happen as Crush whiffs every bullet in the back there. The pistols in the back, one of the hardest things to convert in the game, and he continues to have a poor half, but his teammates are getting the job done. They will finish the rounds, taking down Alexi B. Oh, that's... Oof. He's only has 2 kills. He's having a rough half.
And he was playing really well in that last map as well.
Yeah.
He's getting into it on Dust 2.
X7 only has 2 kills as well, so 2 players who are really struggling here in the server for respective squads. To be fair, that isn't the first time I've seen a player do that. So
oh yeah,
yeah, that's shooting players in the back with pistols is one of the most difficult things in all of CS:GO. Right now, we will see the Force Buy coming out from ENCE. Only have a little bit of utility, so they need to apply that very wisely. But now this one's on. This could easily be the 9-9 Vega in the driver's seat to convert this, get themselves back into a position where the scores are all tied up.
JR jumping for information. Not going to be able to see anything just yet, actually. So a little bit of a gimme for ENCE here if they can make their way up. But Crush is in position. He spots 2. Lands these shots at least. There we go. JR with the immediate execution. He doesn't need any tag help to actually down people with scouts. Tony Black as well wants to join in on the fun, and pretty much everyone on the side of Vega have gotten away with 1 kill here. And just Hoochie is not going to be part of the fun. And pretty well executed anti-eco on the side of Vega, and it's not really getting into a position where they could actually do anything at all. Definitely not threatening a bomb plant.
Yeah, this is a money-making round right here for Vega.
Sadly for them, though, I mean, as of right now, they haven't picked up too many SMGs. Still got the scout in the hands of JR. Holds on Chopper. 2 Famosas, and Hoochie and Tony is backpack. Crush actually just opting for a USP. Not even going to buy into anything at all.
Sure, why not? Maybe he wants to practice after pistol round.
He needs to get warmed up, yeah. Ooh, nice nade there. That's a lot of damage onto X7. He's going to fall as well, so his woes continue. That is actually like a real struggle for a lot of players to play that B bomb side if they're not basically in action too much. If pretty much all involvement, entire involvement that you have on your CT side is rotating over towards that A bomb side to be in really unfavorable positions, you're never really going to get into the swing of things.
A lot of people do forget that, right?
Yeah, and it's a very, very real thing that's super tough to deal with.
That's why when you do have players who play that bomb site, like the Zipniks of the world, for example, and he's able to have impact even if they don't come to his site, that just is a testament, right? That's not something that statistics can tell you necessarily. Doesn't really have the breakdown on a lot of the main websites we use of which sites will hit if they have to rotate in, all that kind of stuff. But we'll be getting the first gun round of the second half underway right here. 2 Famouses and the scout being carried over from those early rounds. Posturing right now are 3 members of ENCE over towards the A bomb site with the bomb. And we have 1 player of Alu watching for a very aggressive mid push. On the pass right now is Alexi B's place to protect.
Yeah, Vega Squadron, again, this I'm not being too active in middle, and versus Energy as well. They found something that worked for them, so they didn't stray into that constant battle too often. Chopper's going to stick around a little bit too long in connector. That's an opening for Alexi and ENCE. It's the green light as well. And X7 make their way up. Alexi B is going to find a second one. Might even come by for a third. He does so as well, so being given leader of ENCE. Just single-handedly taking that round into his own hands. Finds 4 in total there as JR rotates in.
Yep, absolutely obliterating that defensive Vega Squadron right there, but they're going to bounce back with the buy immediately. Up in the hands of JR. The miracle weapon, pulling it out of his back pocket time and time again, scrapping together the buy with everybody else. We're going to have 2 M4s on the board. Chopper, sorry, 3 M4s on the board. Chopper, Crush, and Hachi, and Tony Black is opting for the AUG.
Yeah, and previously when the Versus Energy, when they actually did go with this AUG on Tony Black, he was basically set up to fend for that A-bomb site by himself, and he was doing an exceptionally good job with it. Constantly finding picks and multi-kills, but that's not going to be the case this time around, as Hoochie's going to get pressured over towards B. Alexi not having the same success as last time. 7 a little bit staggered. No trade coming in just yet, but ENCE are very much committed to this B-bomb site. Already, full rotations coming in from Vega.
Hachi's still alive. They know he's there because he found a kill earlier. He will get traded out. Now this constant harassment in the retake as JR's pushed out alone. No one is close. No one is near him as Tony Black is still in the rotation. X7 he's finally got to get back on the board, and that's another kill for him. 2 in the round. He's doubled his score from the first half, and not knowing exactly where Tony is.
Ooh, might have spotted an arm there towards door.
Tony definitely knows where he is as poised and ready to go. Tony with the AUG will find success, pick up the AWP, and tie things up at 10-10. That, I think, was maybe a miscall or miscommunication on the side of ENCE, because 2 players went all in on B. 3 were very far behind, nowhere to be found. And even after the initial trade came in, or first kill came in, the opening for Vega, they didn't take their foot off the gas. They wanted to go B.
Yeah.
Now, in the previous round, Alexi was able to find a lot of action with the AK, and when he's leading by example in that way, that's when it works. This time around, he's died first, and the rest of the team haven't really been with him, or maybe not so sharp on what the plan is meant to be. This does look like it is going to be a B execute. They want to keep pressure on Hachi, who they know has been struggling. Now the smokes come in. X7's out before anything's really landed. Wanted to catch them off guard, but Hachi ready with that heads-up counter-strike. Finds one, and JR's already on the scene. 3 members of Vega Squadron on this B bomb site. Your smokes, your flashes, your Molotovs, they don't matter when the numbers are in favor. And Tony, with that AUG, again finds a kill on Alu, who was trying to see if anyone was rotating through middle.
Right now, all ENCE can really get done is tag damage, but in very similar fashion as to, you just laid out how it went wrong for ENCE in that previous B push. They fall to the same error. Chopper pushing out. He's only got an MP5. Needs to be a little bit careful. Alexi not able to connect before the smoke goes down. His bomb spotted as well, but yeah, no. ENCE kind of fall victim to the same mistake once more. The fact that you have X7 being the front man of that push, he gets taken out off the back of the crossfires that Vega have set up, and there's no return. There's nobody filling in quickly enough to keep Vega flustered. That allows for JR to rotate in before anyone else from ENCE has actually moved forward into the apartments.
Sometimes, teams do those plays where they pounce out before the utility has landed, but that's to catch teams who are playing the smoke molly defense. This is something that Sean would talk about as a concept. Teams either play like smoke molly, so when your utility comes over, they're immediately fighting fire with fire.
Yeah. Quite literally.
Exactly. Or some teams will stay heads up and they will, then play around the utility that you've thrown out. In this regard, they were planning to catch members off guard, maybe cycling through nades, looking for that Molotov, looking for that smoke. But unfortunately for ENCE, she was ready and raring to go, and with that stifling the attack, Vega have grabbed the lead.
Yeah, also grabbed quite a bit of weapons on their side. 3 AKs instead of Colts to their name. Obviously the AWP and AUG in the hands of JR and Tony Black respectively. So they're pretty well set for anything that gets thrown at them at this point. Also in the lead.
It's mid-control right here. You can see with this smoke just coming in from Tony Black, it's going to land towards the top, and that is the idea. The name of the game is to slow down the approach. What you would be expecting if you are the members of ENCE is that they will be pushing up and in your face. And they are, but not as hyper-aggressive as we normally see from Vega.
I still really like it from Vega, throwing out something new for ENCE to look at. Can't really feel too safe about what's going on. X7 is living on very borrowed time, staying inside that smoke. He's going to move forward actually at the right time as Crush falls back. It means mid-control has been given up. So again, Vega figuring out that we don't necessarily have to fight for this. We know we have the range to play off of. Only Alexi with a weapon to his name, together with Sergey. Already Alexi is taking damage as well. 3-man setup here over towards B. I mean, barring some pretty significant collapse. This is looking very promising for Vega, just based off their positioning.
Look at the creep, though. Alexi's already made his way out to sandwich. Chopper may not be expecting this position to be in play. And X7, as you mentioned, he has a lot of territory as well, and that's exactly it. Alexi's AK rings true on this T side once more, and so much damage through the box. Alu will be able to capitalize on that. And now, even without utility, they should be able to plant the bomb, but what's Alexi doing? Picking around the corner, knife in hand, almost offering himself up. Luckily, they can swarm. The AUG is now in the hands of the T's, and Hachi is the last man standing over towards Connector. They know his position. And a tall task it would be to get back into that round. Alu will pick up that AWP, hit the final blow in the round, and we are tied up once again.
I mean, Alexi, both rounds there where ENCE have been able to find success, it's been off of the back of him getting into positions to find a flurry of kills. There he finds the opening on Chopper. He obviously is intended to be flashed out so he can pick off any players moved up towards Lego boxes or Tetris. Instead he gets immediately removed, and then Alexi following it up with a ton of damage onto one of the defenders. I think it might have been Chopper, which allows for Ollie to just connect one Deagle bullet before he goes down. And we have it though, 11-11. Scrappy buy coming in from Vega Squadron. No surprise, they do have an opponent of JR. Outside of that, it's not looking too great. Chopper with an MP5, Huchi on a MP9, Moss on Crush. And I mean, utility, I mean, that's not really anything you can talk about at this point. 3 smokes, 1 Molotov. See how long they're going to be able to hold on to that.
Definitely is the mid control that they want to grab hold of here. Players need to know the smoke that comes in connector, you can never play around it safely. And they're jump peeking, seeing if anyone wants to fire a shot through. JR with the AWP again. At this point, it feels like he spawns with this weapon every single time. Will eventually be pushed off the line by a deep connector smoke. Molotov to come through into the jungle position as well to make sure that no one's hanging around there. But the play isn't clear right now. As I say that, they quickly jot on up onto Catwalk. The bomb will be picked up and heading back through the apps. They need to trade out Crush here, but Chopper's on the scene, and he's got a light of the ball with the MP5. The weapon that's in vogue, the weapon that we're seeing used on gun round after gun round. Has rung very true, and the SMGs seem to be more of a problem than the rifles for ENCE's. It's the B-sided blender. The quick fire rate of these guns is stifling the attack, and the AUG of Sergey has to find 4 more kills. We'll find the second, not able to find the third. The jumping MP9 getting it done, and now back and forth we go. This one is definitely a roller coaster.
Very much so. Vega Squadron just being able to find the timings right there to find 3 ENCE players just in separate occasions, not looking the right way. Bring it right back. So instead of ENCE looking to create a bit of distance between themselves, it's going to be them sent back into a bit of a more woeful situation. 3 AKs.
This is an execute. Has to be.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they haven't found anything whenever they've gone towards that B area. So might be as well to go back to what's actually worked for you.
Look, right now, Tony Black, even though he's playing retake, he's on an island. No one's even close to him. The smokes and flashes are going to come in. They're popping onto the bomb site. Tony right now just needs to live, just needs to make sure that CT spawn cannot be overrun. Molotov's going to flush him out of position, jumping and trying to get away. Aerial hunts him with no remorse. Now continuing. And the hit from JR will drop on X7's head, and now the kills coming back in favor of Vega. Haven't been able to find as many in the flurry, but focus on Alu here, who is on the long flank. It isn't planted exactly for connector, but if he's able to get a little bit of room, might be able to find a way in this round. He needs to get on the scene soon because the time is ticking away, and Alexi B pivots with a massive headshot. Pressure now on Sergey up in apps. The smoke's going to land. It's in the wrong spot. It's completely missed the mark. Chopper was in the wrong place, and the diffuser has been tapped, but Hachi, he's not going to sit it. Playing around the smoke, will find one, and now has to stick it with this point in time. There isn't enough left, and Alu's won the round merely by staying alive. Bit of a John Travolta play right there.
Jesus.
Chaos.
Yeah, it gets so chaotic. I mean, you outlined the win condition for Vega Squadron right there. Tony Black needs to stay alive, at least for a little bit, even though he doesn't. They're able to fight back pretty well for themselves, but it's the rotation from Ollie just being so quick about it once he realizes that they're not going to be able to establish any sort of control over the bomb area. And the quick rotation for Vega coming in. I was kind of surprised to see JR actually gave up on that so quickly. By the time Huchi, left the first defuse, the first tap, JR was already in kitchen.
Yeah,
He had
getting
no
out of there.
faith.
Well, he doesn't want to let go of that ult, mate.
Yeah.
He loves having that thing in his hands.
So could have been called into question. Maybe JR could have been a, well, he definitely could have been a factor in terms of just being able to deal with Alu, right? Maybe allow for Hoochie to hold the defuse on the second attempt. But in any case, I mean, that's 4 rounds just swapped back and forth between the two teams. It's not going to do any wonders for the economy of Vega Squadron that did manage to hold on to that off, as we highlighted.
They've done more with less, haven't they?
Yeah, no, they really
Why
have.
are they even buying rifles? Just stick to the SMGs, boys. Keep yourself on the low buy. You play better with your backs against the wall, but that could, I guess, be said for both teams.
Yeah, and a bit of a change up in setup as well from Vega. They're going to opt with 4 players towards A and just JR over on B. And considering B hasn't been much of a fun story for ENCE, can't really blame them for going back to A, but that's something that Vega's definitely gotten the sense of.
We've seen this before. This was the play with Alexi going through past the mid and Alu towards the top, and he got 3 kills in that round when they won it last time, or it may have even been 4. This time he has a couple more players to deal with in Frey, but Tony Black with the UMP, he's stepping up. I mean, I don't know why he didn't push that Molotov. It was just going to be dwindling. He could have pushed out for that trade, but they do still find themselves in a 3-on-3.
The issue is, though, bomb's been dropped, so that means that JR can finally come into play. There's no reason for him to hang around towards B right now. Chopper's in a position where he can catch off any sort of rotation, unless the very unlikely scenario of someone from ENCE actually moving all the way over towards B, running through CT spawn to join in the fray. That is a tough situation to be in. Alexi is somewhat creating a bit of flank. He's looking for anyone from the B bomb side to have pushed forward. Not going to find anyone. But right now, how do ENCE actually make it onto the bomb side? Really just Sergey who has any utility. He could drop that Molotov in towards Shadow. That would actually force Tony Black out of position at least. That's going to walk in as well.
Perfectly timed there as Tony Black stepping up. He's already had 3 in the round. Chopper's now to get one of his own, and Tony Black, the pivot man, with all the impact. They're calling a timeout right now.
I mean, you said it as well. Stick to SMGs. That goes well for you. He found the first 2 frags with UMPs.
Why not? They play better with their backs to the wall.
It really feels that way. And ENCE just not able to break Vega's economy completely.
Here's the deal, though, right? If ENCE are able to get it around on the board, if they opt to force by here, which we haven't seen them purchase into right now, their money is well and truly in the bin. But if they are able to grab around, that should, in theory of standard Counter-Strike, be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Right? When you're looking at the scoreline of 13th, if ENCE were to force and win, you look at a 13-13 scoreline, at this late in the game, with how everything costs more for the Vega side, that should be it. That should be the game. That should be the trophy.
Should at least be match point.
100%. But
didn't get a bomb plan in, though, for ENCE. That's kind of the big issue that they're running into right now. They're still going to opt into this, but it's not a great buy. I mean, yeah, they're going the Vega way with this one. Galil, a MAC-10. Because they do have the utilities to actually set up for an execute here. And there is, for the time being, only 2 players over towards A.
Hachi does have a little bit of information as he can peer deep into towards B, and he's even going to push the smoke that's come down. So they can actually cheat a member over, and they are doing so. Crusher's left the scene. He's headed over the window. They have 4 members who are ready to hit on this A bomb site as Chopper's going to smoke himself off. The MP5, we've seen him do it before, and he's doing it again right now. Able to reposition towards deep goblin boxes in the site, and just being an absolute nuisance he is. But Sergey with the Galil, able to take him out of the picture. 2-on-3 situation. Bomb yet to go down. No utility to work with for ENCE at all. They just need to take the jewels, and the jewels they do as Sergey evens things up. This kid looking like he may take this MVP if the trophy falls in the favor of ENCE. He's going to be harassed. He's going to take a lot of damage. That lack of head armor has really hurt him in this situation, and we're getting down to a tight round, but Hachi with the SMG. We could be going 5, however. The full distance.
It seems very likely at this point. Vega Squadron, we knew that they had a solid CT side after watching them do battle with energy. Showcasing it again. Now they're actually going to have a better buy. Make of that what you will. I mean, they've been doing pretty well for themselves without necessarily having this kind of a luxury. Tony Black back on that AUG. Chopper's just going to stick to that MP5. He's been rocking out with it. And the immediate tempo change from ENCE here, right up on into the A-bomb side and right through Molotov as well. Well, that was probably the quickest round we've had all game.
It went to plan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, funny that. We don't normally see this going down, but right now, for the side of Vega Squadron, we do have Tony Black, Hutchie, and Chopper all delivering with 20+ kills respectively each. Over there on the side of things for ENCE, Alexi B has had some amazing entry kills on this T side, 24 kills for him. Ariel and Sergey sitting pretty on 19 apiece. Down the bottom for both squads is still Crush and X7, but Crush has definitely stepped it up. He's been able to get 6 in this half, only 2 for X7, who's having a rough time, but this one here is the last chance for ENCE if they want to take this in 4 and then just change of pace over towards middle. Ariel will open the account, able to take down Crush, as aforementioned, has been struggling, and now the orb will come out, but Ariel continues his dominance as trades all over the map. Chaos constantly ensuing in this best-of-5 final. As per the script, it does slow in these 3v3 situations.
GR still poached up though. See with that first one, actually misses the shot. It's a bit of an opener for ENCE to do something with. Alu's going to be able to find a trade. So you know that there's one more player around here. Aren't they going to chance it and go for a ball plant? Ooh, that's quick.
JR missed an easy one to begin with, but hits the heart through the wall, but the lifeline is given as Ariel. That's his 3rd in the round. He doesn't know where Chopper's coming from, but he had a little jump peek, didn't spot anything. That false sense of security given. Maybe his death as Chopper hasn't slowed. He hasn't stopped. He's continued his march forward and will get the kill. That's the map for Vega. They're going to take Mirage. They're happy with themselves on this one, and we're going the distance. We're going for 5 all the way here at StarSeries I-League Season 6 Grand Finals. ENCE are going to be upset they weren't able to close. I think we're going to be going all the way here as Overpass is the next map. This is a map that we saw an upset victory come through for the guys of Vega Squadron yesterday against NRG, a map that we never thought was going to be coming out.
Yeah, we would never see it coming, and I mean, boy, did it work out for Vega. And that has to be a little bit uncomfortable for the likes of ENCE in terms of doing research for the map.
There's nothing you can do.
Exactly. You have one map to go off of, and that might have been just this much, just a little dip in the water out of what Vega actually has prepared, because that was very evident from seeing their T side. The fact that they knew all the flashes, they knew everything they wanted to do. They had many executes that they could work out from towards both of the bomb sites. So ENCE, I mean, they're going into, as perfect as it is, going into a bit of a wild card of a map.
I wanted to say that the guys from ENCE would be kicking themselves for not being able to win those low-buy situations, but they also had their fair share, which they converted, right? So fair's fair in this scenario. Both teams won a lot of force buys. Both teams were able to get it done with low weaponry. But the panels there, they can break it down a little bit better than us.
Vega managed to take Mirage and draw us up at 2-2. We're going to a 5th and final map of Overpass. Obviously, I am not Stunner. I have replaced him for the rest of the segments going out here, and I'm joined by Duncan and Sean on the desk now. Okay, Mirage, bit of a wild card map thrown in there. ENCE can play it. We've seen Vega play it in the past, but obviously not a massive amount. And they're still getting it done, and we speak about many times about Vega's situation of, okay, can they play best of 3s, let alone a best of 5? So far, they're proving it.
Yeah,
This was deja vu, mate. Remember that North game? It was the same exact thing. Like, North was leading, they were doing a good T-side, switched over, Vega came all the way back, almost won that one, obviously.
Yeah, it was another one of those scenarios where Vega started off hot, they lose an eco, which was literally the same thing that happened on that last map, Dust 2, so you kind of think everything's going to unravel, but then they end the half with like 5 rounds, and you're like, okay, that's actually enough for Vega based on what we've seen out of their CT sides. And once they won pistol, you immediately knew that this game was going to go all the rounds and Vega was going to rally back on their CT side, because they've just looked so impressive throughout this event on their CT sides, and even going back to the major.
Yeah, it's bizarre because obviously you would expect when people like characterize their playing style, that should be working on terrorist side.
Yeah.
That's where you should be able to catch people off, like be very aggressive so that people think you're going to be slower and use utility, come through. But it's the CT sides. And the funny thing is, as much as people surely have seen the demos and have an idea of what it's like, it still catches you off guard. They still take a fight slightly earlier than you should, and as a result, people just actually aren't very good in it. It seems to make people slow down more, and that plays to their advantage. They can make more rotations. They can put pressure elsewhere on the map. So as much as at times it looked obviously like ENCE was heading towards the win on this one, again, the tenacity of the Vega Squadron players is one of the amazing things. They don't fold when the game's going badly.
Yeah, and hats off to Hutchie. When we called him out in the previous segment, this game he actually showed up, and actually showed up on a lot of key rounds where Vega Squadron was in weird force buy scenarios. I think it was like 13-12 when Vega maybe had like an MP5 and an MP9, and ENCE hit that B bomb site, and they got absolutely demolished on that half buy, and that was the swinging point of the entire game.
Yeah, there's one player though I have to reference, which is on the ENCE side. ENCE pretty much had a good game all in all. X7 had 4 kills in this map, 4 kills. So, like, you don't ever want to say one person cost you the game because everyone does certain moves that are wrong. Even the star player probably has like a key kill he could have gotten here or there that wins you around. But if you get 4 kills over a game that's basically gone the distance, you almost categorically misplayed the map, probably made some key mistakes. And essentially, there was a 4v5 in many situations.
Now, I read a thing on HLTV with JR. They were giving him an interview. He said they expect this to go very back and forth in terms of the game. We're certainly seeing that here now. But my main thing was he was very much, and I want to know what you think of this, Duncan. Oh, yeah, I believe, obviously, it come down to nerves on the stage. Now, okay, for Vega, they've definitely never been here before. But for ENCE, they always look pretty cool. They always look pretty calm. Do you reckon it could be a bit of the crowd advantage coming in there as well?
I think it's more just inexperience. Like, if you've noticed, the thing about ENCE is they don't tend to win massively even when they win the game. Like,
Agreed,
when a game gets close, they tend to bleed off a few rounds. Like, certainly they can come back into games as a result of it as well. But in fact, both these teams, it's been really back and forth all they play. From different contexts completely. Vega, it's because they just have that brawl style. You know, you're never going to be able to be super consistent random like that. The guys from ENCE, I feel as though if they lose this 5th map, they're the ones who have to look back over the series and look at their mistakes because they were in position to win every single one of these maps we've played.
Yeah, and going back to the HLTV interviews, we saw earlier in the tournament, Alexi V had an interview, and he said that their communication was an issue. Actually, on overpass, things got a bit hectic.
Yeah.
And that's why they actually dropped that game earlier in the tournament on overpasses. They're known to get flustered in those kind of crazy scenarios, and Vega are gods at creating hectic scenarios. So I can't imagine what the comms are like on the ENCE side, and they're definitely probably in need of a mental reset at this point.
Well, we've been seeing the players come out after each game, and the ENCE lineup still, they just talk things through. There's none of this kind of like angry, obviously, I don't understand Finnish, but there's none of this like angry kind of back and forth. They're always breaking down what's happened game after game. My thing with going into Overpass here is, this is the map that we said, oh yeah, when it came to it, NRG should have definitely beaten Vega on, and Vega came out and 16-7 them. Could we just see a repeat of this? Because Vega do seem to be able to just grind this out at the moment, and they are on a roll.
Seems unlikely, not least because, like, first of all, I'm pretty sure NRG went in thinking that was a 1 map. In fact, I even heard as much like that they basically thought by winning Vega's pick, like, Overpass is a done deal. We're through this series already.
Okay.
So there was definitely like a little bit ahead of yourself on that one. You've got to actually play the game out and win the specific rounds you need. Then you've got to add into the equation. ENCE is getting all these good starts because they win pistols. Like, they're actually often in great positions. So for me, it's like, okay, I definitely have seen flaws in their game. In this last one here, they blew it to some degree. But this is a map that, like, it's only 1 time we've ever seen Vega Squadron do anything on it. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and say if they play it again and again, there's a reason why they don't play it in competition. They're probably not very good on it. And it's not like it's their best map or anything, but I think much more convincing when I saw them play against Big.
I agree. But what I did like out of Vega was their CT side, right? We saw JR get aggressive in the connector area. We saw him get aggressive at balloons. We saw the boost over playground. We saw the pushes into short B. There was a lot of different aggressive looks from Vega on this map, more so actually than the other maps Vega plays, which is shocking considering how aggressive they are in the maps they like to play. On ENCE, on the other hand, they played a more passive reserve style towards the A side, all dropping back towards the side a little bit more, which is typically what you see a lot more when you watch the current meta of Overpass.
Now, when we were going into this best-of-5 series, you saw across just social, looking at Reddit and stuff like that, a lot of people were like, oh, yeah, this should be quite an easy game for ENCE. Have you say, at least up to this point now, Vega have proved that, okay, we are more than just a best-of-1, one-trick pony?
Well, I mean, the weird context of this final, obviously $300,000 tournament, winner gets $125,000. Neither team's been in anything approaching this level of a match before. So that's actually one of the flaws I was saying at the beginning, even though actually on paper, ENCE was figured for all 5 maps. Like, they should have been able essentially to win potentially 3-0.
Okay.
When you're that inexperienced though, it's already hard enough for some of the best teams in the world to 3-0, even if you actually have the map advantage, because to have 3 good maps in a row is very, very difficult. It's a level of consistency you just don't normally get. So they were always, I think, going to potentially drop a map. In this particular case, Vega, crucial on that last one, forced it to the 5th game, but that's where everything changes, because if you were ENCE, you were leading in most of the series, you had the psychological advantage, you had the maps you wanted, you could always think, the maps that we want are coming up anyway, we'll close it out. Now you've got to one of the only maps of the 5 you don't feel super comfortable on, you don't feel like you have the edge on. Somehow, Vega just never goes away. They got it's like the Rocky scenario, they just never go down when you keep hitting them, keep hitting them. So at this point in time, it wouldn't shock me if Vega actually wins this map.
It wouldn't shock me at all either. We saw that ENCE, they do have a couple losses on this map, but they're against Big, NIP, and I mean, I think North. Yeah, North was the 3rd one. So those are all excellent overpass teams. Obviously, NRG, very good as well. So a 16-7 tells you a lot about Vega's form right now. But when I looked at that Vega match, there's a lot of like stale B hits that were very readable. And if ENCE looked into that, which they likely did, maybe not, because maybe they knew it would float to the 5th map, and why would you prepare for the 5th map in a best-of-5? But they would probably stack a little bit towards the B site, prodding a lot for info around the A site. Look out for that.
Okay, guys, so final thoughts on this. Do we think that this is going to be a Vega or ENCE scenario after this game? Sure.
Coming into this, I actually thought, ENCE would take it within the first 4 maps. I can't believe it got to the 5th map of Overpass. Neither of they seemed super strong in it. But what I saw, I was more impressed with Vega, to be honest, on Overpass. So I would lean towards them.
Okay.
Yeah, especially given what ENCE, how they've shown they're going to respond in pressure scenarios. So I would lean Vega, actually, this way. I'm going to flop.
Hey, he's doing it again. You are the flopper. Duncan?
No, I'll stick with ENCE because, like, first of all, even though both teams don't particularly play the map, ENCE plays it a lot more and has had bigger victories overall. Then you've got to add in, like, Vega Squadron doesn't win in a way that I think is like, you can't map it out. You can't predict the way it's going to happen. In fact, it tends to happen in the unexpected scenarios. Like sometimes on the map, they're not, like, they didn't get the win on Inferno. They got the one on Train instead, which was supposed to heavily go to ENCE. So I don't think you can go ahead and predict it. And then finally, the key quality for me is, even in their wins and in the rounds won, they only tend to get kills and display firepower in the best moments of the game. They're not very consistent across the board in terms of putting out raw number of kills. So I'm going with ENCE for that. I feel like there's more factors that can win them the game. They've got more lottery tickets in that sense, although it's certainly this one's going to be up in the air.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with Vega myself just off the basis that the Sharks were swinging through Mirage and it was looking pretty damn strong for these guys. But we are going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, it is going to be Overpass. We've gone to the 5th map. It's the grand final here at StarSeries 6. It's time to find out who's going to get that trophy.
Loot Bet. With Hellcase multi-cases, you are no longer restricted by random case opening mechanisms. Now, you are able to pick any of the cells containing skins and actually determine what you win. Use the promo code and dive right in.